Last decade, I tried predicting the impossible, anticipating the top 5 NBA players at every position in 2025 when it was still 2019. Flash forward to now, some of my takes have aged like milk, overrated certain stars with unlimited ceilings, only to still have accomplished nothing since. Looking back position by position, how right was I? Starting with the center spot, my predictions.
Number 5, Rudy Gobert. Confident enough to strongly believe his Jazz will one day win a title. His intensity, maturity, and energy he brings each and every game is infectious to his team. I predict 2025 Gobert will put up around 14 points, 12 rebounds, 3 block shots, and continue making All-NBA defensive team and on his way to winning more Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Not a bad prediction. The Jazz did not ever come close to winning the title. Already his 4th season in Minnesota, the Stifle Towers numbers of 12 and 11, just 1.4 blocks and 67% shooting, somewhat accurate to my prediction. Since after the 2019 season, Rudy won 2 more Defensive Player of the Year awards over 2 seasons from 2020 to 25. Gobert did average 14 points exactly, 12.8 rebounds, 2 blocks. His rejections has gotten down, but his defensive impact continues to show. 4 more defensive first teams later, having the Frenchman at 5, super predictable and a safe bet. But let's see who I had at 4.
Number 4, DeAndre Ayton, who was one of the most overlooked rookies since the greatness of Luka Doncic and Trae Young made all the headlines. Has a little bit of Patrick Ewing and David Robinson in terms of skill set offensively, but nowhere near as good defensively. Very difficult for a guy like Ayton to be the number 1 option, not being great at only one end of the floor, having very little guard skills. Being the second option sounds about right.
An absolute travesty of a take. Mentioning the greats of Ewing and the Admiral, DA was coming off a promising rookie campaign, posted 16 and 10, but still hasn't made a single All-Star appearance. His motor lacking, doesn't get tons of blame, being a massive disappointment of a number 1 pick since he's not really a bust. Given the centers today, if everybody worked to their full potential, Ayton still clearly one of the 5 most talented bigs, but doesn't give a damn about the game. These were his averages I predicted he put up.
In 2025, DeAndre will be 26 years old. I predict he'll average 25 a game, be one of the most dominant post players, and will still struggle switching onto the perimeter, guarding quicker wings.
His career never elevated after losing to Giannis 2021 finals. 2 teams completely gave up on him. There's no question he's a good player if he tries, but never a franchise guy. Now playing with the brilliant Luka Doncic, getting easy buckets with the Lakers, averaging 15 and 9, very typical starting center who's not top 10 in his position, more so top 15.
The 7-footer out of Edison, New Jersey's number 3 on my list. Just 2 years ago, he was voted by most GMs as the one superstar to build a team around. But after a disappointing 3rd season, Cat received no votes last season, expanding his offensive tricks, but still struggles on defense from time to time. Similar to Anthony Davis being in New Orleans, it will be extremely hard for Cat to compete in the top West with limited talent. Is arguably a top 15 player in the league today, but because of his lack of playoff success, likely stuck in the Twin City, he won't be mentioned in the same category as Giannis a few years from now.
Towns did struggle with playoff success in the West, didn't win a series till 2024, his 9th season. Being in a competitive conference, it took Minnesota to land number 1 pick Anthony Edwards for the franchise to find any real success. Now Towns is number 2 on the Knicks. I predicted these monster numbers from the stretch big.
In 2025, I predict he will be at the height of his powers. At 29 years old, a top 8 player in the league, average around 27.5 points, pull down 13.5 boards, 4 assists, just under 2 blocks, contend in the playoffs, become a future MVP, as dominant as any 7-footer in terms of getting buckets, and his defense will only be subpar.
Towns not quite a top 8 player, but his current teammate Jalen Brunson certainly is. Didn't quite put up 27 and 13, but averaged over 24, 13 rebounds last season, less than a block, an All-NBA 3rd teamer, and top 20 player instead of top 10. He's gonna be a 6-time All-Star come February, a likely future Hall of Famer. Absolutely lived up to his number 1 pick hype, just probably could have been a bit better if more disciplined defensively and not pick up those silly fouls in big games.
Number 2, Joel Embiid. Because of his past injury concerns, I didn't put Joel number 1. His injury problems are still a major issue, missed his entire first 2 seasons, played the most he's ever did last season, and still missed 18 games. If healthy, his talent is incredible.
Everything I mentioned with the one-time MVP, 100% accurate, on point. Couldn't have said it any better about his talents and potential through the roof.
If only Embiid can stay fully healthy and reach his full potential, he can be a top 3 player in the game. Yes, he is that good.
Fully healthy, that's been the 31-year-old's kryptonite. Brutally slowed down by injuries last 2 seasons, he's missed at least double-digit games every season of his career, played 66 contests, 2023 when he won MVP. Afterwards, the league changed for award requirements. Joel was in debate as best player briefly with Jokic until his playoff struggles, now looking like one of the biggest what-ifs of the decade given how dominant he's been when able to play without pain.
He's a huge risk, huge reward type of guy, had health concerns throughout the 2019 playoffs. The most important time to be healthy, he had knee problems. I don't see Embiid having a long career, but in the next 3 years, he'll slowly creep in the conversation as a top 5 player, perhaps win a championship before 2025. In 2025, the process will be 30 years old, turning 31 in March, at the tail end of his prime, a force to be reckoned with on both ends of the floor. He's easily the best scoring center since Shaq without question.
On cue again with Embiid's inavailability to stay on the floor during the postseason. Joel himself did win 2 scoring titles, averaged above 30 points and 33 when winning MVP. I predicted his stats 2025, 26 and 12. It was actually 24 and 8 given his injury. The season before that, 35 and 11 before making contact with Kuminga early 2024, a moment that likely ruined his prime.
Number 1, Nikola Jokic, who already has the Nuggets in contention with the offense revolved around him. He's the best scorer, rebounder, and facilitator on his team. Will go down as one of the most fundamental bigs the game has ever seen. Simply makes the game look easy and always 2 seconds ahead of everybody else. Jokic can realistically become the only center to join Will Chamberlain to lead the league in assists. I rank him over Embiid since he's been healthy over his first 4 seasons.
All the qualities Jokic displayed pre-2020 gave everybody a reason to believe his greatness, not just a superstar, but the pure, clear-cut best player in all of basketball, the most unexpected best number 1. Many still weren't convinced until he won the title in 2023. Here's more to what I saw in Joker back in the day.
Already has excellent leadership qualities after taking blame for the Game 7 loss against Portland, accepting responsibility and not shining away from the challenge is only going to go uphill from here. It doesn't matter much that he's not that athletic. Reminds me of a big man version of Steve Nash, can knock down the 3 and be a master at the pick and roll game with teammate Jamal Murray, who has all the tools to be the clear-cut second option as a future All-Star.
Jamal Murray still hasn't been a future All-Star, but that's okay. I knew Jokic would be great, but totally underestimated how great, even minimizing his numbers and rankings as best player.
Joker should be a heavy MVP candidate for many years to come, is arguably a top 10 player today. Flash forward to 2025. I see Joker already being an MVP winner, will be 30 years old and still in his prime if healthy. I see him put up averages of 22 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, continue to run the offense, show his bags of tricks with his vision, and arguably a top 5 player in the association.
The real answers on top 5 centers of the year 2025 is clearly Jokic 1, Victor Wembanyama, who was just 15 years old in 2019, 2, has the potential to become the very best player after Joker, Cat still 3, Embiid was 2 for a while, but the injuries have taken a toll on his greatness. Bam Adebayo, whom I didn't even mention, 5th right now, debatable with Şengün, who I have at 6, Sabonis 7, Zubac 8, Gobert 9, and Jared Allen 10, with Jalen Durham knocking on the door. This season, he's better than Allen, Rudy, and Davitsu. Jokic, no question, the best player to build around from 2019 to the present day. It's too bad he still never had another All-Star teammate. Gobert and Towns lived up to their status to some extent. DeAndre Ayton has not. On to the power forwards.
Being a prototypical stretch 4, KP is tall enough to play center, but doesn't have the strength Also not a good rebounder for somebody his size, takes and makes a lot of outside jumpers, can run the floor and finish in transition, very athletic for a 7-footer, an excellent rim protector and shot blocker who's very underrated defensively. I believe him and Luka will be one of the best duos in the 2020s decade.
This absolutely did not age well. Porzingis and Doncic never even won a playoff series together. Not the best of friends. KP became a spot-up shooter, wasting his size standing around the perimeter for much of his tenure in Rick Carlisle's system. Porzingis continues to suffer from both injuries and illness. Most games he's played in the regular season, 72.
Because of his durability concerns, I don't see him playing every game of the regular season. Will miss likely 10 to 15 games per year on average, play 30 to 33 minutes, average over 25 a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 block shots as the second option, a top 10 to 15 player in his prime.
Did average above 23 and 8 one season with the Wizards, but never the same athletically after that ACL tear. Porzingis has been an exact 20-point-ish scorer for much of his time in the 2020s decade. Talent-wise, he's top 10 at his position, but given the unreliability and missed time, he's between the 10 to 15 best power forward / center position.
Number 4, Jarrett Jackson Jr. Jackson, combined with his 7'4" wingspan and inside presence with the fact that he can switch onto guards, defend guys on the perimeter, will make him a high-level defensive player of the year candidate a few years from now. Triple J has some similarities to a younger version of Kevin Garnett. Given his size, I don't believe he will ever be as good as Garnett.
Triple J has been the player he was anticipated to become, already won a Defensive Player of the Year award, very good for being the 4th pick. Now the 2-time All-Star, been much better than his unreliable teammate John Moran each of the last 3 seasons.
Offensively, I don't believe Jackson will ever average crazy scoring numbers, but on defense, he'll be one of the best in the coming years. 5 years from now, he'll be 25 years old, should be a 2-time All-Star by then. I see averages of 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 block shots, almost 2 steals, make multiple defensive first teams, and a top 10 to 15 player at the time.
He averaged 22 and less than 6 rebounds. The lack of boards for his size still mind-blowing. His shot blocking not as good compared to years past. Not top 15, more like a top 35 player with all the respect. Already made 3 defensive teams. Very good all around. You'll see where I rank him after this absolute travesty of a bus.
Number 3, Zion Williamson. Being in a great situation with New Orleans will allow him to utilize his strength and skill set. Having one of the best passing point guards in Lonzo Ball, one of the best young and promising teams, unlike playing for the Knicks, there won't be extreme pressure for Zion to succeed right away.
I couldn't be more wrong about the dumpster of the pathetic Pelicans franchise, who even gave him a max contract and he still can't be on the floor. Missing over 55% of possible games is only glimpses of greatness, then months of being on the sidelines.
Zion has the right winning attitude, very humble, not cocky, gets along with his teammates, does all the right things. Williamson, in my opinion, will at least be a much better version of Draymond Green, a better and more athletic version of Julius Randle.
Another awful take, Zion himself couldn't have been more pathetic with the lack of work ethic. Didn't even call CJ McCollum after traded to New Orleans. We seen him fall asleep on the bench, mess with the wrong girls, and undisciplined and lazy as any number 1 pick we've seen.
Zion will be 24 years old in 2025. At his most athletic peak, averaged around 24 a game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. A high candidate for Defensive Player of the Year.
He did average above 24 points a game, but played only 30 contests, 7 rebounds. Given how little he's been playing, nobody would say he's a top 40 player. If there was any player age 25 and under you want today, at least 50 names you rather prefer over the lazy high school prodigy.
Number 2, Anthony Davis. Injury concerns also raises red flags. Only playing more than 70 games in 2 of his 7 seasons. Be 31 and 32 years old by 2025. I predict he will average between 24 to 25 a game, snatch between 10 to 12 rebounds, dish out 3 assists.
Supposed to be the face of the Lakers until the Luka trade, never fully asserted himself as the true number 1 for a consistent time of stretch while being teammates with Bron. My stat prediction of Davis on point, but given his injuries, no longer a top 10 player, but much more in the top 15 range. Still excellent career, even creeped into top 75, can't ask for much more than that.
Number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's a transcendent talent and unlike anybody we have ever seen. Being a more athletic version of Kevin Garnett, dominating in every aspect of his game, combined with being one of the best defensive players in the league, it will only be a matter of time until Giannis becomes the best player in the NBA.
The Greek Freak himself did become the best player in the NBA from the 2021 to 22 window until Jokic convinced everybody otherwise. Giannis reaching top 75 status by age 26? Remarkable. These were the reasons why I had Giannis above Davis back in 2019.
Giannis can basically do everything Davis can sprint faster the full length of the floor in 2 dribbles, take off from the free throw line. Giannis can become like Davis, but Davis can't become Giannis. I predict he will lead his team to a championship by then, maybe even have 2 titles, continue to put up between 26 to 31 a game, grab between 10 to 14 rebounds, dish out between 5 to 8 assists a game, win a Defensive Player of the Year award or 2, become the most dominant player since Shaq, and the best player in the world in 2025, as well as being the best player in the 2020s decade.
Although Greek Freak no longer the best player in the world, he's absolutely still in the conversation for either 2 or 3 alongside SGA. Giannis been top 4 minimum each year since 2019, has done it all. The only thing stopping him, potential injuries with his grueling aggressive style of play, attacking the rim, and still being on a directionless small market Bucks team on verge of being traded to a better franchise. Let's hope Greek Freak has lived up to every bit of the hype and more. The best power forwards 2025, a position that's been a mixture of 6'7" small forwards playing the spot occasionally. The traditional power forward pretty much don't exist in the modern NBA, but the best easily Giannis by a mile. 2, still AD despite his injuries, dominant when healthy. 3, I go with Pascal Siakam. Then it's Evan Mobley. Chet Holmgren at 5, I slightly have over Triple J. Paolo Banchero at 7. Julius Randle 8. Larry Markkanen 9. Scotty Barnes 10. Aaron Gordon 11. Zion Williamson, probably top 15. He barely even plays. And for Kristaps Porzingis, also top 15-ish. On to the small forwards.
Number 5, DeAndre Hunter will be a huge asset immediately coming into the league. Has all the skill set to become an 18 to 23 point scorer. By 2025, I predict the 26-year-old to put up 21 a game and be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year.
A solid starter, but won't become all-star caliber. Little underwhelming, plays like he's just going through the motions half the time. The 5th best player on a contender, not good enough, never cracked above 17 in any season. This demand the Cavs thought was the missing piece, the perfect modern wing on paper, but a bit injury prone, a very weird player. Half the time he's sleepwalking, the other half pulls up crazy highlights like how he destroyed Josh Giddey's ankles. Will probably end up a solid 6-man going forward from now on.
Number 4, Brandon Ingram. If everybody had to guess who was going to be the breakout player in 2020, many experts would pick Ingram.
The former most improved player in 2020 indeed elevated, showed glimpses of being a franchise player, but of course, injuries, unavailability, having the worst ankle sprain last season.
In 2025, I see him average around 23 points, 7 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, a poor version of Kevin Durant, become a multiple-time All-Star, being in Victor Oladipo, DeMar DeRozan territory, a top 15 to 20 player in the league.
More so a 22.6 rebound guy, seemed to have lost some hunger after 2022. At best, probably a top 15 to 20 player back 2-3 years ago, but still young enough to climb back up the rankings. As for now, top 40 to 50.
Number 3, Kawhi Leonard. I absolutely see Kawhi Leonard's game aging very well, especially if he doesn't have any significant injuries down the line. Leonard's one of the best superstars at pacing himself, so I won't be surprised if he never wins a regular season MVP, but come playoff time, that's when he shines brightest.
I was totally wrong. Kawhi's career could not have turned out any worse after signing with the cursed Clippers. Had his moments in 2020, but choked in the bubble. Looked like the best player in the game at certain stretches during the 2021 playoffs. Went toe-to-toe with Luka, but was never the same physically after Joe Ingles bumped into him. Leonard himself hasn't won a playoff series since then. He's still excellent when healthy, but barely plays, just like Embiid.
but will still have the tools to average around 23 to 24 points a game, pull down 7 rebounds, dish out 3 assists, and still make all defensive team at age 33, remain a top 10 player in the league. And given a couple of his injury concerns in the past, Kawhi won't be the same athletically at that age, but dangerous enough to still contend for championships as the best player on his team.
Had he just stayed in Toronto, Leonard himself might have had a third title.
Number 2, Jason Tatum. 5 years from now, approaching 2025, Tatum will be 26 to 27 years old, entering the early stages of his prime, will slowly improve on his defense every year. I don't think he will be a top 5 player in the game, but a top 10 player, a little better overall than Paul Pierce and Carmelo Anthony.
My assessment of JT fair, accurate, on point. He was creeping in the top 5 conversation, but younger players like SGA and Wemby surpassed him after his recovery, likely stuck in the top 5 to 10 player range. We're still excellent, will still be contending for more titles playing for Boston, already won the ring, has 4 first team All NBA honors under his belt. The best isn't quite actually a small forward, but a point forward.
Number 1, Luka Doncic, a future walking triple-double. Doncic is light years ahead of his maturity and understanding of the game, makes all the winning plays. Doncic is simply a basketball prodigy. 5 years from now, whether he plays the 1, the 2, or the 3, he'd be absolutely number 1 on my list in any of those positions.
He led Dallas to the finals, already made All-NBA 5 times, more than Steph Curry himself, been in top 5 conversation for a while now.
It's absolutely not shocking to believe Luka Doncic will be the best player in the NBA 5 years from now. I believe Doncic will be a top 3 player in the game, finish as a top 3 MVP candidate multiple times, win the award more than once, contending for a championship.
Doncic, everything we expected and more, but since he's clearly been playing the point guard spot, even with LeBron, 2025's best 3, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, then LeBron, still up there, Kawhi Leonard at 4, Jalen Williams 5, followed by Franz Wagner, Jimmy Butler, Deni Avdija, Brandon Ingram, and DeMar DeRozan to fill in the rest. Mikal Bridges much better than DeAndre Hunter, who's probably top 15 to 20 small forward. For the 2 guard spot,
Number 5, Jamal Murray, who's listed as a point guard, but realistically more of a combo guard. If everything goes well between him and Jokic, they will be one of the best duels. I predict Murray will average around 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists, become a multiple-time All-Star, and a top 15 to 20 player at his peak.
Despite never being that great in the regular season, has had superstar moments in the playoffs, including a pair of 50-point games, a pair of nasty game winners. There's not more than 10 guards you'd rather have take the big shot come postseason time than Jamal. Nuggets wouldn't have won that 23 title without him being off the charts during the earlier series. A possible Hall of Famer, might just be the best player to not win any major individual awards like All-Star or All-NBA, but his career already much better than several multiple-time All-Stars.
Number 4, Bradley Beal, perfect fit on any team in the modern NBA. Based on his style of play, if healthy, his game should be sustainable long-term, well into his mid-30s. When Beal's the number 1 option, his team usually won't go far, but he's perfect as the second option for any team. Because of his endurance play style and being able to move well without the ball, I see him put up around 22 to 23 a game, grab 5 rebounds, continue dishing out 5 assists, and creep up there on the all-time 3-point list.
An absolute travesty of a take. We should all have known Beal never had what it took to become a third option or sacrifice. The biggest reason for Phoenix struggles last season, team without him, no more locker room problems, Supermax extension, nothing to show, 0 playoff series won since 2017, many forgotten, he's still only 31 last season, but plays like he was 37, averaged a lackluster 17 points a game, the most criticized player today, might have played his final NBA game for all we know.
Devin Booker, who's still shockingly only 22 years old. 5 years from now, he'll be 27 years old, and if he's the franchise player for his team, I predict Devin Booker will average 30 a game, have a chance to lead the league in scoring for multiple years.
Devin Booker had one of the biggest roller coaster careers. His team stink for a while, called empty stats, CP3 changed that narrative, had his chance winning the title but couldn't get past Giannis. Suns' new owner tried to buy his way to a franchise ring. The team now post KD, post Bradley Beal, not terrible. Dylan Brooks keeping them afloat, Booker arguably between the 12th to 20th best player in the league.
Number 2, RJ Barrett, who hasn't played a single game yet, but there's no question, there's superstar potential written all over him.
Whoa, a terrible take looking back. RJ been stagnant, no question, he's a good starting 2 guard, but still has not made a significant leap, needs the ball in his hands. His best bet, looking like a one-time all-star, maybe 2 max, being in the weaker conference, not superstar material, but good offensive player.
I know it's too early to make crazy comparisons, but I do see James Harden potential in RJ. Not saying he'll be as good as Harden, but as far as all the tools and talents, his ceiling is scary. In 2025, RJ will be 24 years old, where I predict he'll be a top 15 player in the game and get even better from there.
One of my worst takes all time, he's nowhere near the Knicks savior, that's Jalen Brunson. RJ's lack of off-ball abilities, the reason why he was traded for OG Anunoby. The 5 best 2 guards for this calendar year: Anthony Edwards 1, Devin Booker 2, Donovan Mitchell 3, Jaylen Brown 4, James Harden 5, Austin Reeves 6, Zach LaVine 7, Tyler Hero 8, Desmond Bane 9, RJ Barrett I go with 10. Feel free to disagree. Point guard's the most difficult position to predict.
Number 5, D'Angelo Russell, who will be at the height of his powers in the middle of the next decade. He viewed the 6'5" point guard as a bust and underachiever, getting blamed for his immaturity at age 19, which is his prime 5 years from now. I can see him put up around 26 a game, 5 rebounds, 9 dimes, making second team All-NBA, a top 15 to 20 player in the league.
An absolute travesty. The one-dimensional heat-check journeyman, closer to being out the league than to play like his 2019 All-Star self. Did prove doubters wrong, but proved them right again. The flaws too hard to ignore. The type of inefficient starting guard all teams want to avoid. He's only gotten older, less athletic, plays the exact same way, same nonchalant attitude, not even considered top 100 player now.
4, Ben Simmons. Many still believe he's the second coming of Magic Johnson, and if you wanted a guy to build your team around, Simmons undoubtedly would have been one of the top choices of anybody selected first overall in the last 5 years. His work ethic's very questionable, and if he continues to stay away from the outside shot and not even look at the basket, come winning playoff time, opposing teams will easily have their game plan set up. The Melbourne native,
an even bigger travesty, the fragile failed #1 pick, zero passion for the game, can care less about whether he plays another NBA game, not even attempting any comeback. Maybe when the money runs out, he'll put up those LA Fitness videos. The worst possible outcome happened to him after the 2021 collapse. No individual player have self-destructed more from one possession. To think he's out the NBA before LeBron James, you say that 10 years ago, no one would have believed it. Extremely shocking beyond belief.
Number 3, Ja Morant. Just my bold prediction. Many argue he shouldn't even be on this list since he's never even played an NBA game yet. I see a more composed Russell Westbrook, a better shooter and decision maker than Russ.
Ja Morant, an absolute all-time knucklehead, immature and injury-prone travesty. His attitude continues to get worse, was humbled once upon a time, but once the money and fame kicked in, all the #2 pick wanted was some street creds. Instead of trying to become a better NBA player, Morant has not improved for 3 years, didn't fix his flaws, still has no jumper, slowly going down the wrong path, still has time to fix himself, but no longer considered young in the league. When you're already 26, having multitude of injuries with his reckless style of play, one of the next big names to suffer a catastrophic downfall on his way out the league.
Number 2, Trae Young, where he finished second place for Rookie of the Year. Despite Young having a small frame combined with all the big guards in the NBA, he'll likely never be a good defender, but his offense is already so good, he'll make up for it. Having other young guys in Kevin Huerter, Cam Reddish, and DeAndre Hunter who can all shoot, we can anticipate the Hawks offense in the near future, showing flashbacks of the Steve Nash, Mike D'Antoni Suns era. The pick and roll combo between Young and John Collins will be absolutely amazing to watch.
Also very disappointing, accomplished little to nothing outside that 2021 conference finals run. For all we know, Trae might not get back to the conference finals again. It's December of 2025, many convinced Young's not even the franchise player on his team anymore, with Jalen Johnson hooping.
Number 1, De'Aaron Fox. Of all the players selected in the 2017 draft, it was Tatum and Mitchell at first who made all the headlines. There's a legit argument to be made that Fox should have probably been taken first overall. It's way better than Lonzo right now.
A pretty good floor general, but still not as great as I'd like. Now on a better team as the number 2 option. Fox on the verge of winning his first playoff series. Much more happy now that he's out of Sacramento. The real answers nobody could have predicted. SGA at 1, his emergence and improvement, nothing like we ever seen. Luka Doncic, a clear-cut point guard, but trailing behind SGA due to lack of title and less team success. Jalen Brunson number 3, another unsung hero, nobody expected to become not only a star but superstar, driving in a big market. Steph Curry still got it at 4 into his late 30s, and Kate Cunningham officially cracked top 5. From 6 to 10, Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young, and Kyrie Irving.